Well, hello, this is Danny Joslin from DJ Retouching, and we're going to look at some simple masking techniques using channels. This comes in well handy when we're looking at hair and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, I've been retouching well over 20 odd years now, and using other softwares, not only Photoshop back in the day, and even back then we'd be using channels. So let's have a little squiz. So we've got the channels down here. We click on channels. This is an RGB image, so you've got your three channels, your red, your green and the blue. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to just click on each one of those and just have a little look. We're looking for contrasting, so what we're trying to do is take the object away from the background. So green, the red's alright, hair looks good in that. Green's a bit better. But blue's the winner here. And the fact of the matter is, sometimes blue's a go-to channel, especially if you're masking skies and stuff like that. You know, blue's always the go. So what we want to do here is we want to utilise that channel and turn it into a mask. How we can do that is we can just copy this channel by just dragging it down at the bottom here, or we can go right-click, duplicate channel, or whatever. But because there's not too much weight in the shoulders, what I want to do is I want to do something a little bit different. For that, we're going to go to Image Calculations, and what we're doing here is we're taking that blue channel and we're multiplying it with itself, with another blue channel. Okay, so sometimes you might find an image where the red is really good because it's got a green jacket, and the hair is good for the blue, so you might want to multiply blue with a red, but in this case we're just going to multiply blue on blue, and we're going to create a new channel. So here we go. Now with channels, to be honest with you, every now and then Adobe come out with some new little fandangle things, and I mean, it's another excuse to knock out another version, to be honest with you, another software. So, you refine edges and this, that and the other. I mean, they're all based on channels at the end of the day. And, if you want to rely on a computer to make your decisions, it's down to you. But I'd rather, know what I'm doing, especially if we're working on professional work, you don't want to be messing around. Right, okay, so we've got our output channel here. We could rename that, but yeah, whatever. We'll have a little zoom in. Hair's pretty much done on this side. This looks alright, needs a little bit in there. What we're trying to achieve is just have the area we want to mask black and white, you know what I mean? So in this area it's cool. We could run around with a pen tool if you wanted, but other techniques such as dodge and burn probably be the way to go. We can weight this up a little bit to start with. I mean, if we had a bit of a dot in the background, using levels is a way to sort of clean it up. And we haven't got any dot in the background really, but we'll have a little look at levels. So to Apple L, bring out our levels. In another little shoot, I'll show you about histograms and all that, but this is a basic histogram for just this channel. Up this end we've got the shadow, down here we've got the highlight. Shadow's pretty bunged in already, so don't really want to go any higher because we'll end up sort of, making more of a white edge on the hair when we finish. But we might take this mid-tone, just pull it down a little bit, weight it up a little bit. Still, it's done a good job there, but we need to do a bit more. Okay, so this is where I think we'll dive into a bit of dodge and burn. Normally I don't like using those tools because they're pretty destructive, but for this, perfect for doing masks, right? So let's have a little zoom in and show you what we're talking about. So what we want to do is we want to darken this area down, but without affecting there. We could go around with a pen tool, we can go around with a brush, but I mean, it's easier to use a dodge and burn. So if you press O on your keyboard, and we're in dodge mode now, but if you drag along or do a shift O, you come along, get the burn tool, which is a little hand. And let's set our range to shadows because we want to hit the darker areas first. We don't want to put it on mid-tone or highlight. Let's stick it on shadows. And we're doing this for masks. And the exposure, well, for this area, might as well just leave it on 100. But if we're going to go around the hair, we might drop that exposure down about 40. So let's have a little paint. And the good thing about the dodge and burn is that if I can paint on this white area in shadows, I ain't going to do anything. But I can paint up and I can move through these mid-tony areas quite easily. It's going to darken up nicely. When it gets to the highlight areas, well, it struggles a little bit, but if we go over it a couple of times, it does the job. I'm just using the Wacom tablet here. The software I'm using is the CC software. I'm using that new fancy Mac Pro dustbin looking thing, and but like I said, in 1991 I was doing this sort of thing on softwares which, well, Photoshop was just no good in those days, you know what I mean? So, but, same techniques. I'm going to go through here, just finish up, just doing the edges here. And like I said, we'll just pop in this area, have a little look. You know, there's a little bit of grey in there. We might want to drop this down at this point, pull it down to 50, 40. You don't want to go bang right up to the edge because we want to get a little bit of transition in the edge of the hair, so we don't want to make it too, so that's the only area really you want to go a little bit wispy and a little bit sort of 50% in areas. Alright, so we've done the edge there. Boom. I can run around with a brush, fill in the gaps, or we can use a lasso. I'll go lasso myself. Now, unless you've got a real steady hand like me and a nice Wacom tablet, using lasso's pain, okay? Especially if you've got a mouse or something like that. So, if I show you a better way of doing it, if you put your finger on the Alt Option key and just start clicking around, and what it does, it just constrains the lasso tool. So you can just go around, click, 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 click. I mean, you could have the right shakes, you know, and still get away with using this technique. And boom, 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 and there she goes. Release that, creates a selection. What we're going to do is we're going to fill this with one of our colours here. If you ain't got your colours here, hit the B button for default colours. If you want to toggle between those colours, you press your X, okay? But we're going to fill this with black. So if I just go Command Delete, which will fill it with the background. If I went with Alt Option Delete, it would fill it with the foreground. I'll deselect that. Okay, so bang, here we go. With it looks good. I'll invert that, okay, for a couple of reasons. Number one, I like looking at it the other way around, so in case I've missed a bit in the background, sometimes it's easier to see things in, you know, in the white, and I can see little tiny areas where I've missed there. So I'm just going to probably with a little brush and just fly around those little gaps. Now you've got to remember, I'm a little bit pedantic because this is me. This is what I do for a living. This is what keeps the roof over the head. So if I'm a little bit too anal with this stuff, please forgive me. Right, there you go. So in the normal settings for your Photoshop, you know, the white is the area which is going to be selected. You know, if you're making a layer mask, you're making an alpha channel. So you know, so at the moment this area is going to be the one which is selected. Now we can go to our layers now, and we can do this and we can do that. But the right easy way of doing it, really, is if we just click on this layer. Now, see when I'm touching it with the hand tool there, you can see my little hand on top of Alpha 1. Okay, but once I put my finger on the Control key or your Apple key, see, it turns, it's got a little rectangle, the marquee selection tool. So that tells me I can select something. Now this works for paths and everything. If you're at the old, just click on it, boom, click on it, and then bang, there you go. We've got a nice selection going on there. Right, another little tip I do personally is that straight away, once I've got that selection, I'm going to throw the alpha channel right in the bin, okay? The reason I do that is that it's increasing my file size. And although we're looking at a tiny little picture here, 60 meg, no dramas really, but if I'm dealing with like a monster file, if I've got like a PSB, I'm dealing in like a 3 gig super duper, you know, composite I'm putting together. The last thing I want is another channel and whacking it up to 4 gig, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'll be running out of hard drives. So what we're going to do is we'll launch the alpha channel. Okay, now I'm going to go back into my layers. I've already released the background layer when I was chatting earlier on, but if it's not released, just double click on it, lose that look, press OK. Okay. With that selection, simple, we just go down the bottom here, it's a little square with a circle in it, that's your layer mask button. You hit that, it picks up the selection, and you can see the checkerboard, which means it's nice and transparent in there. Alright? Okay, so, right, she's masked, it looks nice. Okay, let's whack her background in. Now, I'm not just going to throw a colour in there, I'm just going to throw something in there. I mean, I see that she's well backlit. I'm looking around the edge of her shoulders and all that, and there's some light there. So, you know, I've picked a little simple backlit sort of sunshine sort of shot. Yeah, okay, and what we're going to do is, this is one of the little things I've done like with CS6 and CC. It's all a bit messy now when you want to do different things like this, but let's pull that over this side here, and then we're just going to grab that layer background. I'm going to put my finger on shift, because what that means is when I drag it onto this picture, it goes into the, it centralises it as much as it can. So bang, there you go. Now, that layer sits on top of that layer. That's why we can't see the lady. So what we do is simples, grab that, drag it to the bottom, a presto. Right, okay, she's in, but she don't look too flash. We look around the edge of the area, we got white going on there, we got white, and yeah, it's not too good at the moment. We need to work on that. Okay, now how do we do that? Right, what we're going to do now, and this is where do things slightly different to other people, you know, but it's just the way I roll, is that we're going to look at multiplying that layer for starters, okay? Right, so we're going to click on our normal, we're going to go to multiply, which, you know, a lot of people do that. When we multiply it, we've got lovely hair, it looks beautiful around the edges. I mean, that's fantastic, but look at the face, you know what I mean? She's got the background coming through and all that, so that's no good to me. So what we want to do is we want to have this sort of technique, but only on the edge of the hair, and then the rest of it we want to keep it kind of normal. Right, so let's show you how to do that. Right, what we're going to do is create another layer. Let's duplicate that, turn that back to normal. Okay. What we're going to do is we want to choke this in. Now I could go around with a brush and do that, and I might, you know, maybe I would do that in certain times, but I'll show you another technique of just pulling that mask in. It's a technique called choking, and it's an old printing term. It's where you actually sort of like suck something in that, you know, make it a bit tighter, draw it in a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm going to click on the actual layer mask itself, not on her, but actually on the layer mask. I'm going to go to filter, and go to other, and then go to minimum. Now minimum, what that does, it contracts. It'll contract the pixels. So, you know, if I was setting, say we're going to, let's do quite a lot. Let's go for like sort of 5, you know, 5 is quite a lot there. If I contract by 5, and then we're going to go preserve it as roundness, so the edge of those pixels are going to be round. I think back in the day before 6, you know, you didn't have the choice of roundness, it normally go to squareness, and then if you had square pixels you might have to go and put a median on there to round it off and a bit of a blur, but roundness just does the trick. I suppose this replaces what people do with refined edges and all that, but I find this a little bit better. Okay, so that's looking splendid round now. Up here I've still got a little bit of light coming through, so you know, so let's just paint back that layer a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to use my black and I'm going to toggle by pressing X. I'm going to go to my brush, and all I'm doing is brushing back on that normal layer. I might drop my opacity down to sort of like 40. Let's press number 4, and just brush just nice and smoothly along the edge of the hair there. Okay. And also you can see that we're getting probably a little bit too tight in there. Just going around the edge, brushing it in, brushing it in, brushing it in, getting a lovely little effect here. Okay, that's lovely. Right, so that's all looks great, right? The only thing is no good now, the hair's wonderful, but look at the shoulders. You know, we've sucked it in a bit, and now all of a sudden we've got this black line around, okay? So the reason why it's got a black line around is because the normal layer, the mask for normal layer is smaller than the mask for the multiply layer, okay? So what I'm going to do is to fix that. I could just go onto this layer and paint black and get rid of that multiply, but I want to keep, at least now I've thrown away the alpha channel and I've just messed around with this channel, it'd be nice to keep at least one channel which has got a true mask on it in case I need to go back at a later date. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create another group, okay? In that group I'm just going to put in the multiply layer just into that group, okay? We can call that hair if we want, because it's really actually just the hair edges, because that's really just affecting the edges there. Yeah, look, I had 2 lots of hair in there. Hang on. I can do Photoshop. I can't type for toffee. Right, edges. Cool. Okay, what we're going to do now is we've got ourselves a group. Let's apply another layer mask just to that group. Okay, it's a bit complicated, you know. Some people might think it's a bit round the edges, but it's just the way I like doing it. Okay, right, so I'm just going to now just run around the edge of the skin now with the black pen, which is with a black brush, which means it's getting rid of that area there. I'm just going to bring that all the way up just to where the hair kind of starts. And same over here. Just that black edge we got in there. And then going back to where we saw that the edge of the skin and the backlight bit. It's a bit mopey and a bit ropey there. So what we'll do then is we're just going to go onto that normal layer on top. And just, you know, we could pen tool it, or, you know, I'll trust myself with a brush. So I'm just going to create myself a little hardish edge brush. And we're going to go in there and just make that a bit softer. So it's a bit softer around the edges there. I'm just going to brush in that highlight she's got on the edge of her shoulder. Have a little look on the other side. You know, I tell you what, this CC, a bit buggy, doesn't like, the old hand tool now and then, it gets a bit stuck. Okay, all looking good. Popping that little area there, let's brush that back in, and job done. It's looking alright. Final little thing I'll have a look in here is when you're just dropping something in or making a simple comp, you've got to kind of look at stuff like we've already highlighted the fact she's backlit, so we've picked the right background for a backlit shot, so that looks good. The problem is the background shot is quite cool, and she's really OTT on the yellow front. So what I'm going to do is on that top layer, which is a normal layer there, where her skin is, I'm just going to put slight little curves on there. So we're going to go down to the bottom, create ourselves a curves adjustment layer. Okay, I'm going to attach that to her by doing Alt Option Alt G, okay, which is see a little arrow goes in there, and that just means that that correction is only going to affect that layer because it's attached to it. Right, and then curves, I'm just going to pop into my blue channel because that's where I'll get my control from my yellow. Check out your colour wheel if you need to know these things. And I'm just going to push that up. So we get a colder effect. You know what, and I might just put a little bit of blue in there by going to a red channel and just pulling that up a little bit. Yeah, just to cool it off a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Right, and here we have it. A pretty, you know, almost perfect comp there. Lovely mask, just using basic layer mask channels. Okay, layer mask techniques using the channels. Okay. Right, well there'll be a few more shoots like this, and like I said, wealth of experience. You know, we're going to be doing loads of this stuff now. If you go to my website, see some of my work. Yeah, I'm djretouching.com. My name's Danny, and you have a good day and be lucky. Bye bye.